Hello and welcome to Nothing But the Truth. Few people understand Delhi as well as my guest today. She's a three-time Chief Minister serving an unbroken 15 years in that office. So how does she view the incredible result of the election in Delhi? That's the key issue I shall put today to former Chief Minister of Delhi, Sheila Dikshit. Mrs. Dikshit, you've been Chief Minister for 15 unbroken years, and as I said, few people understand this city as well as you do. How do you explain to yourself the abysmal performance of Congress in this election? What went wrong?
I tell you, last time also we had done badly. This election, of course, we have completely wiped out. But the impression I had eventually was, there were several reasons. One was people looking for a change. 15 years had been quite long. However good or bad, that's separate. But change. Then there was not only the change desired in Delhi, but also looking for a change at the center. Scams, this and 2G and all that impacted this thing. And they got two alternatives. One was the BJP and the other was this Aam Aadmi. So, last time I can't find where we faltered. I'm trying to look at except these things. This time, of course, we faltered in the sense that we weren't as lucid, as energetic or as aggressive in our campaign as we should have been.
Let me ask you three exploratory questions. First of all, to what extent was the Congress campaign hampered by the fact that it wasn't backed up by proper, effective strategic planning and thinking?
That's right, you're right. Obviously, we did not do the planning that we should have been able to do. And also there was another thing. This was an election very soon after the last one. It was just about a year. So the mindset had not changed. The mindset was what it was. And AAP campaigned very meticulously and aggressively, which I don't think either the BJP or...
Beyond the absence of proper strategic planning, did Congress also get the message wrong in this campaign? Did it fail to project its own strengths and did it fail to project the good work you had done?
No, they projected the work, but as I said, not as vociferously and as aggressively as they really should have done.
So they lacked spirit.
Just put a line saying that this was that and that was that. And then remember, we were also working against freebies. The kind of freebies that AAP was giving and the kind of freebies that even BJP offered was something we were not ready for, prepared for, and would not have done.
Thirdly, to what extent did Congress suffer because the local leadership it was offering Delhi simply didn't click with the voter?
Well, that's a thought that we can say today, that yes, there was the click wasn't there. But when you look at the meetings, when you look at the kind of roadshows that were there, a lot of MLAs who have lost have met me and they've said, we just don't understand. People came to us, people spoke to us, and that they were thinking something different inside, they could not make out.
So this also suggests that many of the people Congress put up as candidates actually weren't able to judge the mood of the people.
Yes, you're right. To a very large extent, you're right. Otherwise, we were not able to judge, BJP was not able, otherwise Mr. Kejriwal would not have got 67 votes.
Can I ask you this? Do you think Ajay Maken, with hindsight, perhaps was not the best person to be chairman of the campaign committee?
No, on the hindsight, you may say so. But then you have to think of an alternative now, and if you don't have an alternative, then there's no point blaming what you have picked up.
So in fact, Congress's second problem or third problem was a paucity of talent. You just didn't have good, attractive people to feed.
I don't think we had the kind of coordination amongst each other that we should have had. Somebody was looking at and then there were some wrong steps, You made a campaign committee chairman, just a month or 15 or 20 days before. Then the PCC president was asked to contest, then he withdrew. So there was confusing signals going. And that is what made people think what you're thinking.
In other words, you're also saying that there wasn't someone on top cracking the whip and disciplining the party and ensuring cohesion.
No, I don't think so. There was, it wasn't visible anyway, and one felt its absence. But it's not normally required, you know. People, everybody knows what their job is. After all, an MLA knows if he's contesting what his job is.
And the problem here was that the party was dispirited anyway after the last defeat.
Yes, it was. It was dispirited.
And couldn't get its act together this time around.
Yes, act together as it should have. But this 1 year, I think, we wasted. We had meetings, we had rallies, we had this. But the important thing is to reach out to people, to groups of people.
That didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
So that 1 year was actually wasted because it could have recovered lost ground if it had done it properly.
Yes. I think so. There were, like for instance, you know, there are Malayali groups, there are Punjabi groups, there are RWAs, there are Tamilians living here, all kinds of people, Christians, Hindus, Muslims. But you know that personal campaign was not there.
You've gone on record to say that you campaigned where you were asked to go by individual candidates, but elsewhere you said you felt uncomfortable. What were the sort of things that happened that made you feel uncomfortable? After all, you are the only person who's won 3 elections in this city, one after another. You should have been the most comfortable in your party.
Karanji, how can I go to a meeting where I'm not asked to come? Whoever asked me, about 7, 8 MLAs did. To some I went 2 or 3 times also. I was asked to go to the rally which Mrs. Gandhi addressed, a wonderful rally. I went there. But if I'm not asked, I don't even know who's running, and nobody approached me. Whoever approached me, I went. And I had made that clear, that I will do whatever I'm asked to do.
Now, in an interview that is in the papers today, your son says that Congress has become elitist. He says many leaders are dead wood. Would you agree with that?
Karanji, I don't think I'd like to comment on what my son said. He never consulted me. He is, whatever he has felt or whatever others have felt. Jairam Ramesh has said something and he said something. I have just looked at it at the papers like anybody else has. But it's a pain that they're all feeling, and that's why it's coming out. Because look, remember, there are many. And even in India, there are many who want the Congress, who are committed to the Congress. It's in our blood.
Jairam Ramesh, in fact, you mentioned him a moment ago, has told the Hindustan Times this is not just an electoral crisis. He says it's an existential crisis. In other words, it's a much more serious thing than just a defeat.
That's it. The words that Jairam has used are different to what Mr. Sandeep Dikshit has, but I think their meaning is the same, and that is what is worrying everybody. Please remember that. Many are able to articulate it, many are not. But it is worrying people in the sense that since we lost the Lok Sabha, it's
downhill all the way?
Yes, downhill all the way. So we have to do something.
This is then a real concern, this is a real worry that the Congress party feels, even if it doesn't publicly express it.
No, it's, yes, it is beginning to feel impatient now.
Are you worried that what happened in Delhi could have a national impact on A, the standing of the party, and B, on the morale and spirit of the party?
Of course it will. The morale will go down. 0 for the Congress party, which has ruled for 15 years, is something very, very, very painful and very worrying, both.
In fact, it's worse than 0 because your vote share fell below 10%.
Yes.
And in 63 out of 70 constituencies, Congress candidates lost their deposit.
Exactly.
It's actually hard to imagine a worse result.
Yes, exactly. You have to really, I agree with you there. So we have to worry. Please remember, the Congress doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the entire nation. Its ideology belongs. The nation today is where it is because of the Congress rule. And whatever it has had, outstanding leaders right through. So we cannot run away by just keeping quiet or silent. I think it requires debate, and I am absolutely confident, Karanji, and I would say this with all the emphasis at my command, that the Congress will come up, will rise.
But at the moment, how deep is the concern? How deep is the...
It's very deep.
Very deep.
Yes.
Right the way through Congress.
Sorry?
Right the way through Congress.
Yes, I think so. Whoever is there, I can tell you about Delhi definitely. People come to me from UP also, and also from Bihar, and all. They're very worried. The determination to get back to do something.
That's missing still.
That is, at the moment, the Congress is demoralized. We need to get.
So the first lesson Congress has to learn is to begin to feel and then show that determination.
Yes, what is our plan for the next years? What do we do? Because there's 5 years for the state, the country's election, 5 years for Delhi's election, and 4 to 5 years most other places.
Let's come then to that look into the future. After this shattering wipeout, how does Congress recover?
Of course it will.
But how?
Look, it was almost shattered after P.V. Narasimha Rao lost. It was almost finished after Indira Gandhi lost. And then you say, so Congress has great talent and great people with great commitment.
Let me put it like this.
I can't give you the roadmap right now, but it has to come out. Not only has it to come out through discussion, but through action.
You have won 3 consecutive elections. You have decades of experience in politics. You know this city better than probably any politician. If you were in charge of Congress in Delhi today, what would be the first step you take?
The first step I would take, and starting, would be to get into the people, to get in touch with the people. Forget about all this rallies and meetings and all. Go into people.
Literally mohalla to mohalla, district to district, street to street.
Mohalla to mohalla, yes. Colony to colony. I wouldn't say go into every household. No, this is not the time. But show that you know, discuss with people. Find out what the people's feelings are. Why did they feel that we weren't?
In other words, Congress needs its own Delhi dialogue,
yes,
as Arvind had.
Dialogue, yes. Dialogue for amongst ourselves and say, okay, all right, now go.
In a sense, you're saying that there are many things that Congress could usefully learn from Aam Aadmi. Rahul Gandhi, if I recall correctly, in 2013, when that first defeat happened, said, we can learn lessons. Today, you're saying the same thing. Learn how to establish contact with the local people. Learn how to listen to them.
Most important.
Listen to them.
That's most important, because somewhere there has been a disconnect.
As one of the elder statesmen of your party, what would be your advice to Rahul Gandhi?
Look, I'll tell you one thing. I am not one of those who gives advice to people. I would only say if somebody asks me something, whoever it may be, I tell them what I think. But it's for them to really listen.
Share with the people of Delhi what you think.
Rahul Gandhi belongs to an era which he has some visions about. Let those visions come out. And I do feel he's very intelligent, he's very understanding, he does understand. Now he has to discover himself. If he asks you or me or anybody else for advice, I'm sure people will give it to him. But he has to evolve himself. And I'm sure, I'm confident of that he will. Whether it is today or next year or 6 months down the line, I cannot say.
You're saying something, if I interpret you, which sounds like this. When you say Rahul has to evolve himself, what you're saying is he must gather the confidence to do what he believes in and to talk about it openly.
Yes.
And more immediately and directly and forcefully.
Yes, I think so. He has to reach out. People have, you see, I'm told I don't do all this, so I am not familiar. All kinds of tweets come. So go ahead with it. Go to people.
Drop your inhibitions.
Yes.
Huh? People sometimes turn around and say that his plans for restructuring or changing Congress have offended the old guard. Is there reason for him to perhaps pause and reconsider? Because a united party is essential at this point of time.
Don't we all do this? We take a step and find that what we have taken is not enough or not good enough or not the right step, and then we take something else. Give him that chance. Give him that chance.
This is an opportunity for that reassessment.
Yes, it is, and it's for him to take a call on what he would like to do next and how differently and what way.
Another question that's often asked about Rahul Gandhi, and it's asked often by people outside Congress, but sometimes even within Congress, is he the right person to lead Congress? How should he dispel those doubts?
Karanji, every leader has been called different names at all times. Indira ji was called the Gungi Gudiya by very big stalwarts, that she didn't have a voice. She emerged as one of the finest leaders this country has had. There was also Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, what he did. And, you know, before he became Prime Minister, he was considered something who didn't have a voice. Also look at Morarji Desai, how did he come and how he went away. So these are inherent in politics. You keep on learning all the time. And I'm quite confident that Rahul Gandhi is also in the process of learning and rediscovering whatever he wanted. What he is doing, I do not know. But I am sure, as a person who has got this responsibility on him, please remember, he's going to do as well as he can. And there are people who are giving him ideas.
Again, if I'm interpreting you correctly, what you're saying is carry on striving, carry on doing what you want, do it with confidence, do it with forcefulness. These other problems of people doubting you will take care of themselves.
Exactly.
In other words, he needs to find that conviction and confidence from within himself, and all the other problems will fall in place.
Leave it to him, yes.
That's the real message to Rahul.
Yeah.
Find your conviction, find your confidence.
That's it.
Do you accept that from this low point, it's going to take Congress a long, hard, tough struggle to get back to the top? And it's not going to happen overnight or immediately?
No, nothing happens overnight. At the time when Indira Gandhi lost, or when P.V. Narasimha Rao lost, it took us 3 years, 4 years to recover ourselves, to come out with it. And we did. Now, please give us some time. You have lost Delhi just about a week, 10 days ago, and you think you're going to come out with 5 days?
So the other thing you're saying to the party is give yourself time, don't be impatient. It's a tough, hard struggle.
Do discuss it. Yes, it's a tough struggle. And discussion. Meeting people, getting ideas.
Dialogue.
Formulating, after dialogue, formulating your views.
Mr. Dikshit, let's come to Arvind Kejriwal, and let's come after that to Mr. Modi and the BJP. When Arvind Kejriwal suddenly resigned after 49 days last year in February, people said he had run away. They called him a Bhagora. As a result, in May 2014, he didn't win a single seat in Delhi. But 8 months later, he's won an astonishing 67 out of 70 assembly seats. What do you think makes people so full of faith and confidence in Arvind Kejriwal, the man they call the muffler man?
You see, as I said, there is a feeling of change, and he represents that change. Secondly, I think we all have to accept the fact that he had started his campaign 8-9 months ago, before this election took place. And practically all his workers went almost from house to house, spent time there. So there he connected with, or his party connected with the people more than.
You're saying two important things. One, he's the beneficiary of a deep desire for change. And the second thing is, he actually put in painstaking hard work for 8 months.
Yes, we must agree. We have something to, all of us have something to learn for it.
Is that another lesson from Arvind Kejriwal? Hard work can never be avoided, it has to be done.
Yes, politics is hard work, and it's temporary. What I work today may not be applicable the next election. So it's constant hard work. But most important in democratic politics is the contact you have with the people.
And that is something Arvind Kejriwal has really shown everyone.
Yes, he has shown it. He has shown 67 seats is not a joke.
Arvind Kejriwal has appointed a deputy chief minister. Now the Delhi government has 6 cabinet ministers and 1 chief minister. As someone who's been cabinet minister for 15 years, does it make sense to have a deputy chief minister?
No, it doesn't. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody, but it's unnecessary. Even if it is not making sense, it's not necessary. You have a cabinet of 7. I mean, including the chief minister. There you are. You carry on with your work. And another thing I find this thing is that he's announcing many things even before he's become the chief minister. He's taken the oath today. Like Wi-Fi, somebody said that it's going to be 30 minutes a day now or something. How he's making these announcements is something not normally done.
Can I put this to you? He's got a whole list of infrastructure promises that he's made. 30,000 additional hospital beds, 900 primary centers, 20 colleges, 500 schools, 1.5 million CCTV cameras, and they go on and on and on. All of that is going to cost a lot of money.
Of course.
On the other hand, he's also promised to reduce VAT and make it the lowest in the country. And VAT, as you know better than me, is 67% of government revenue.
Oh, exactly.
So he's in this very peculiar situation of promising to do things that are going to cost money at the same time as promising to reduce VAT, which is going to reduce government revenues. Has he got a problem on his hands?
You see, he's not, I don't know, I'm surprised because what he's saying he ought to know because he's been a civil servant. You know, he's not an uneducated person. But what is this thing is that the people, most people, fell for the whole thing. All right? Yes, it can be done. The way you have argued it out, people like us are arguing it out. How will you manage it? But he's done it and people got carried away. So I think we should wait for a while to see what he's going to do. Already, as I said, he's tapered down his Wi-Fi. And he's also said that power and limited the amount of water you're going to get free. Are you and I also going to get water free, or what is it? So let us see.
So
let us give him time.
he's already adjusting his promises to the reality that he now has to contend with.
That's right. You put it better than I could have.
This also suggests that when people realize that their huge and enormous expectations are not going to be met, he could face a precipitous fall in popularity.
Well, this happens in politics. What happened to Mr. Modi's BJP, for instance? You know, suddenly.
Let's come to Mr. Modi. The Prime Minister personally led the campaign. The posters had his face.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's ended up with 3 seats. Whereas in May 2014, he'd won all 7, and the projection was he was going to win 60 seats. Has this damaged or at least dented the Prime Minister's image?
Well, certainly. The faith and confidence that people had in him has certainly battered, certainly is battered, because they also took some very wrong steps. You know, their own party was dissatisfied with the decisions that they took. And I must also tell you one thing, that people do notice in one of the boards, which is all over Delhi, he promised that 24 hours we'll give electricity. People thought, many people told me, doesn't he know that we've been getting 24 hours electricity for the past over a decade?
Mrs. Dikshit, a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.